Don't underestimate what we're saying. Don't think that we're exaggerating things. Don't think we're probably just in the moment and it'll all just get better. Your worldview is not the same as our worldview. Your concept of the world around you is not and will never be the same as a trans individual. Hello all, welcome to Dwell On It, a series where I, Taylor, answer your questions about my lived experience as a trans woman. Welcome again, and if you have any questions of your own that you would like to include in a future episode, please put them in the comments, or you can send them to me by a DM as well, and I'll answer them in a future episode after writing them down and putting them in a grab bag. The concept of the series, as I mentioned, is a way to help people better understand what the lived experience is of a trans woman, but remember, this isn't exclusive about myself either. What I try to do is help provide some insight in case people have questions about, transitioning, the trans community in general, discussing some of the politics behind it, and just general life stuff otherwise. And it doesn't necessarily need to always be serious topics too. I'm certainly open to answering lighthearted questions as well, because again, when it's all said and done, aside from the education, one of the ideas of this series is to help humanize trans individuals too, to help take away some of the stereotypes, for example, that might get often considered, or perhaps the realization that when it's all said and done, we're people too, right? We're just as people as everybody else. So as I mentioned, if you have any questions of your own that you would like to have answered, please make sure to contribute. Otherwise, if you're new here, please subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. If you are not new here and you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you enjoy the content, please hit like. What liking does is it helps give a bit of a nudge to algorithms and whatnot as well too, so it does help get this message, get this video, get this, this conversation visible to other individuals with similar interests, and please share. As I said in so many other episodes too, my reach is only able to reach as far as I can reach, and I know that sounds incredibly silly, but think about it. I am only able to communicate to who I can communicate to. I have my outreach, I have places that I promote this, and so on, but that doesn't mean that's everywhere, and that's where you come in, to help share the message, to help get other people to see this too. I like to keep a habit of using visual descriptions in these videos ever since I learned about it. I've forgotten once last week, that's on me, sorry about that. I'm in my office, living room, gym, I've got the beige walls, it's midday right now, so it is sunny. In the background behind me, I'm a white 6'1" transgender woman. I've got my semi-straightened blonde hair swept over the left side of my face. It's a few inches below my shoulders at this point, and I've got 3 dermal piercings underneath my right eye, so there's the small, medium, and large going outwards towards a cluster earring, which is at the top of my right ear. I've got 2 stud piercings and a nose piercing as well. I've got a color palette that's based on blue, purplish when it comes to my makeup. I'm wearing a white and blue sweater. The blue lines are on horizontal stripes. I've got sunglasses on my head too. I am going outside shortly. Otherwise, that's about it. As I mentioned, my name is Taylor. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is Treaty 1 territory. And presuming I get this uploaded on Sunday like my normal routine, which means today, the day that this is uploaded, is June 5th, which means it's Run for Women Day. So $1,411 is my target. Today, you can still put donations in for that. What Run for Women does is support women's mental health and women's wellness programs. So a link in the description, please contribute. You get a tax receipt with your online donation, and as well in the descriptions too. This Saturday is the Walk for Muscular Dystrophy, and what that does is it supports individuals who are dealing with anywhere of up to over 160 neuromuscular disorders, and of course not only those individuals but their families and the support systems, and funds raised for both campaigns certainly helps when it comes to advocacy and research and so on too. So please take a moment while you're here. Help me reach the $1,411 targets for each one, and thank you so much in advance for your generous support. So as I mentioned, we're going to use the grab bag, and so let's see what we can get into this week. Does anyone misgender you who you wish they wouldn't? Have you confronted them about it? People who matter to me? No. And if people do misgender me, I notice, and I also know that they know that I notice, and I notice it get corrected really quickly without me saying a word. Other times I experience misgendering would be, if I'm on the phone, for example, I don't take personal offense to it, largely because my name Taylor, of course, is androgynous in principle, and I acknowledge with my voice, just with key inflection and so on. It is kind of ambiguous for some individuals too, so when it's over the phone, I don't take offense to it, but I certainly create a moment of, hi, we shouldn't be presuming genders right now because I'm not a he. Stuff like that. Otherwise, deliberate misgendering, I'm not going to worry about other individuals who deliberately misgender. In last week's episode, I was talking about how I'm constantly stalked and harassed and abused by a network of individuals who are full of hate. I'm not going to lose sleep over the fact that they continue to refer to me as Brad. I'm not going to lose sleep over constant transphobic attacks and so on and so on and so on. I'm not going to lose sleep over someone's ignorance and hate. So I'm not worried about what they do. And if it amounts to anything, it is just more reason to continue to advocate, especially against organizations such as the Winnipeg Police RCMP for being aloof, for not intercepting the abuse, to Energy 106 FM for not denouncing the abuse while these individuals were promoting their brand, and so on. I'm not going to lose sleep over some smooth brains, but it does frustrate me how organizations who have a responsibility to be responsible fail at that. But otherwise, on a personal level, I don't lose sleep when I get misgendered, and frankly, it's an empowering moment for me to be like, you are stuck in a system that you have to get out of, and here's what we're going to do about it. If people try to provoke me by misgendering, they're wasting their time and making themselves look foolish, is very simply how it goes. What keeps you motivated to keep going through your transition? I'm alive. I don't want to make this one longer than I have to. If it amounts to anything, I'm just going to put a video here. I haven't decided which one it is right now, because there are so many that I can choose from, but I'm happy now. I'm alive. It's not a matter of being motivated, because now I'm alive. There's nothing dragging me down. In a past life, I was nothing but burdened with not being authentic. And now I don't have that weight. I don't need to be motivated to keep going. I get out of bed with excitement. I get out of bed with life and happiness. And I fully acknowledge the world around me. I want to make sure that's super clear. I'm not aloof to the violence and the political harm that is getting caused anywhere in the Western world. I am not ignorant to the world around me. I want to make sure that's clear. And if anyone's been following me, they can advocate for the fact that I know what's going on in the world around me. But I'm happy now because I'm allowed to be me. And I shouldn't even say I'm allowed. I am taking my space to be me, because the world doesn't allow me to be me, but I'm taking it. I'm owning it. I don't have anything that keeps me motivated to keep going. I continue to fight, and I continue to take lived experiences and use them to help educate and advocate. Sure, I might burden myself with work. I might burden myself with responsibilities. But when it comes to transitioning, my transition ended as soon as I got my new birth certificate. That to me was my finish line. Legal recognition of my name. Everything else is life. And I know I spoke about that before too, so there's going to be a video about that right here. I have no idea which one I'm choosing again, but it's going to be here. Enjoy it. But in seriousness, I wake up so happy. I wake up. Nothing keeps me motivated unless life is the motivation, unless existing happiness is a motivation. I don't even know how to end this on a poetic sentence, because nothing motivates me. Because I get out of bed, because now I am finally alive. I've finally been alive for the last 2 years and change. I've finally been alive. I've finally been happy. I've finally been comfortable. I've finally been excited to get out of bed. I finally have been excited to just exist, to take my space, to belong wherever my feet stand. I really hope that helps answer that. I'm sorry I don't have something that might be a value that might resonate with many people. You know, I'm doing it for so-and-so. I'm doing it because of etc. etc. I'm sorry that I don't have that, because I'm doing it all for myself. And I'm finally happy to have myself. What do you think is the most effective way to support trans rights? If I had to narrow that down to one thing, listen to trans individuals and act for trans individuals and amplify the message that they say. I understand that most individuals want to be supportive, but they wouldn't know where to start because they don't know what to do or how to do it, or so on and so on. So when trans individuals share things like genocide is happening, trans erasure is happening, please acknowledge, please address, please amplify, please get strong and loud. I'm going to put a link right there for stuff I've spoken about before when it comes to trans erasure. Don't underestimate what we're saying. Don't think that we're exaggerating things. Don't think we're probably just in the moment and it'll all just get better. Your worldview is not the same as our worldview. Your concept of the world around you is not and will never be the same as a trans individual. When a trans individual is calling for action, calling for help, they're not saying that and waiting for a credibility check on if it's something to matter about or not. That's not part of the conversation. It's us saying, we need you to use your privilege, to use your platform and your ability to reach out to other people and be trusted and taken seriously to help get that message heard. If I had to add a second thing that's the most effective way to support trans rights, is to be proud about supporting trans rights. I feel so strongly that the amount of people who insist that they support me is there, but they're not going to amplify it to other people because they don't want to look to others like they support a trans person. They don't want to take that battle on of defending a trans individual. They don't want to have to take that battle on having to explain how trans individuals are human too. So they'll be more than happy to say, hey, Taylor, listen, I got your back. Let me know if you ever need anything. Very cool. Well, can you take this and just throw it up on your socials and help amplify things? Oh, well, I don't really want to do that. Thanks for the support. I would rather not hear you offer support if you're not willing to do something as basic as share a message. So those are the most effective ways to help support trans rights. Take it seriously, take it passionately, do it authentically, and do it regularly, and do it consistently, and do it proudly. What part of advocacy is your favorite? What is the most time-consuming, and what is the most exhausting? 3 times in the past 2 days, I have been told by others that I need to take a break for myself. So funny timing, grabbing this card. So let's start with this when it comes to my favorite. I love using my voice. I love being able to speak with conviction, get heard, and I love the ability to get into conversations and use statistics, speak objectively, speak passionately, and see people react to that accordingly. That is my favorite part of getting into the conversations and help problem solve, if not advocate, to figure out where are the failures, how do we address the failures. That is my favorite part. The most time consuming is all of it. Advocacy is a 24/7 job for me. I am a trans person 24/7. My life is under attack 24/7. I've mentioned before that fundamentally there are more safe days than unsafe days. So I'm not saying that I'm constantly under siege by individuals, but as a community, as a society, politically, and so on, I am absolutely under siege nonstop. And I can even go back to the fact of how I am constantly stalked and harassed and abused and defamed and suffering libel and allegations and this and that and so on by individuals who are trying to provoke other individuals to cause harm upon me. These aren't jeers against queers. These are deliberate, provocative efforts of either instigating fear or assault. And I deal with that everywhere I breathe because of these individuals. So I advocate and I work, and it's a 24/7 thing. So that is, of course, the most time consuming. So similarly enough, I know I mentioned the link earlier. Please make sure to take a look at it if you haven't seen it yet. But the previous episode, I was discussing how I'm wearing all the hats right now. There's the recording, there's the editing, there's the uploading, there's the promoting. And that's not even considering the fact of doing the emailing, doing the researching, doing the reading, doing the conferencing, doing the studying, doing the whatevering. I'm doing all the things, and the challenge with that is I'm not even able to approach the things that I would like to do when it comes to networking with other individuals, when it comes to expanding, when it comes to just being able to, get involved in the community more and so on. All of it is time consuming. It would just be great to be able to, spread the workload somewhat, but it's really difficult to work on getting other people to help when I am currently stuck doing all of the things that I'm doing. You know what I mean? And that's why I continue to call it out and put it out there that if people know anyone willing to help, to please either reach out or to get them to reach out. Otherwise, what's the most exhausting? It's just the workload versus the clock. I'm working 24/7. I really am. Like, my foot went numb, and my foot's been numb for, it must be like 2.5 months at this point, but the amount of time that I'm on my butt, sitting, typing, working, editing, mousing, moving, so on, and I'm nowhere near the same level of active as I was last year, for example. Well, that's because I'm continuing to work, and I've got more work than I have had before with less people. That's the exhausting part. People leave, people abandon because of malefactors and lateral violence. Ignorance. Nothing better than some cishet bootlicker trying to create a bunch of drama and making a whole bunch of mental trauma for other people to quit, for example. But I still have to work. It doesn't matter what a team looks like because the job still has to get done. And so if I have to continue to work by myself so long as I'm helping create the change necessary, even though other individuals felt like they were trying to take my legs out from under me, I know what needs to get done. And I know that what needs to get done won't happen if I don't do my part and help contribute towards it. That's the part that's most exhausting. That people feel like taking my legs out from under me and then they put their legs up on the table is a great day's worth of work for them. without acknowledging or having compassion to the amount of work that they have piled on a vulnerable individual. I'm going to wrap up on that note. This was a fun little mix of questions here as opposed to the last rather curated series, so I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did enjoy this content, please hit like and make sure to subscribe if you have not yet. Please share this content too with anyone else who you feel might want to hear this, especially so if they want to be able to help when it comes to this type of work. I've got a lot of hats that I'm wearing on my head, so if you say, hey Tay, what can I do for you? Name it. Because I'm seriously doing everything, and by doing everything, that also means I'm sometimes doing nothing. Because I'm not able to put 100% into what I would like to do because I am spread out so thin. So I'm doing the best that I can with the resources that I have available, and with that I hope that is empowering and uplifting for some and encouraging for others and inviting for the rest. As I mentioned, there are 2 fundraisers in the description, so please make sure to jump in on those. One is Run for Women, which is today, assuming that this is uploaded on the Sunday that's Run for Women Day. And then the other is Walk for MD, which is Saturday. Either way, $1,411 is the goal for each one, so please make sure to jump in there, tax receipt with your online donation, help me hit those targets and help share those too. In the description as well is a call to action on a webpage that's hosted by Newmode, and what it is a pre-written letter that gets sent to the elected officials in your area, whether it's your city councilors, it could be your MLAs, it could be members of parliament, and also you can get sent to the mayors of Winnipeg and Toronto no matter where you're from. And as I mentioned, the call to action is pre-written, so it's seriously takes like 14-15 seconds. Name, email address, postal code, hit send, and off to the races you go. And of course, make sure to share that too. I'm still working on that content I was talking about before, and this goes back to the 30,000 hats that I'm wearing, that it's very difficult to accomplish all the things that I want and or need to get done in a timely fashion when it feels like there's only one person doing this work, while there's so much abuse going against trans individuals, when there are systemic failures happening all around us. And it often feels like I'm the only person in my radius fighting back, and this is where I need you to share the message, and I need you to help out if you're willing to lend a hand too. Otherwise, let's wrap this one up. I really enjoyed this little quick hit again, and I want to get back into that as a normal habit, I promise. So for now, have a great rest of your night or day. It's still pretty nice out. Have a great rest of your week, as I always like to say too, and I'll talk to you next week.